Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Valerie Mills. Thanks for logging on to My Fox Hurricane. It may not look like much right now, but this is the little wave that we are tracking right now. We've been very closely watching it over the next couple of days as the odds have slowly been increasing for this to form somewhere in the Atlantic over the next coming days. We are really looking at the end of this week, even into this weekend. And if we're talking about any impacts to Florida or the southeast at all, it's really going to be at the end of this weekend, even early next week for some areas. So this is really going to be a slow development of this storm. So kind of the main points that we're talking about over the next few days is that the best chance for this to form into some sort of tropical depression, that's going to be one that's closer to the Bahamas. So still several days out. And until we have some sort of center of circulation with this storm, it's really hard to determine the strength and the track that it's going to take in the next coming days. So we should have a better idea over the next few days as this little wave kind of starts to get its act together, and especially as it moves out of this area of very dry Saharan air that's really been battling this wave. And as we zoom in closer, I'll show you where it is exactly that we're talking about. In parts of the central, the southern Atlantic, notice all of this drier air. It's really been battling this. So that's why we don't expect any development over the next 2 days. It's once it gets out of this pocket. And then from there, a lot of ingredients are in place for this storm to strengthen. The two big things: plenty of warmth in the Atlantic, really all of the Atlantic basin. We have temperatures in the mid and upper 80s, plenty of fuel for strengthening for a storm as it moves over those warmer waters. We also don't have too much wind shear here. So our Fox model, you can see kind of following the general steering flow of that ridge of high pressure as it would take what could be a potential tropical system up into the southeast. So the two really main tracks that look most likely at this point. Here's a look at our main steering currents. We've got a ridge of high pressure sitting over parts of the southern parts of the country. Then we've got our typical Bermuda high. The two going to work together to kind of steer this storm. We're at this point, models looking more likely that it's going to kind of curve up around this ridge, and models mostly keep the storm's center of circulation, if it does develop, to the east of the state of Florida, but it does still look likely we get a big surge of that tropical moisture, likely late Saturday into Sunday. There is a small chance, though, that this storm kind of curves into the Gulf of Mexico, which would generally bring a weaker system, but it could be bringing that system closer to the southwest coast of Florida. At this point, though, our European model, that's typically our more reliable model, more in line with our exclusive Fox model, which would keep this potential system generally to the east coast. So let's go ahead and put it in play here and see how our Fox model takes it. There's that blob of really just at this point disorganized showers and storms. Kind of see it skirting out of that drier air, which by the time it's in Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, that'll be on Thursday into Friday morning. You can see some heavier rounds of rain there as it's starting to get its act together, kind of moving out of that pocket of all of that drier air. Then by Friday, it's in the Bahamas. That's when it's most likely to potentially become some sort of tropical system. And then notice just off the southeast coast of Florida, that's going to be Saturday and into Sunday. So at this point, it's still a watch and waiting game. We could just be talking about a surge of tropical like rain and wind, or this could develop into our potentially next named storm of the season. That would be Debbie. We'll continue to watch it closely and bring you updates right here on My Fox Hurricane.